Welcome to episode 311 of the Grip Strip podcast, the Rory repeats and Gibbs finally wins edition of the Grip Strip podcast. My name is Philip Matthew. I'm your host. Not doing the Jim Nance impression since the Masters has passed. We can get back to regular scheduled programming. Glad to see Rory win again. Enjoyed the whole week of Masters. It's 1 week of a escape in a time where things are a bit difficult. But as always, with me is my co-host and good buddy, the iRacing Indy 500 champion, computer genius, the gentleman, a scholar. His name is Josh Fine. What's going on, brother?
Doing great, Phil. Of course, yeah. Glad to be back for another week. Um, yeah, lots to talk about here in NASCAR. Of course, yeah, exciting weekend here in golf as well. And then, of course, I mentioned to you guys offline, but yeah, I ran 5K last week, so somewhat different kind of racing of my own, of course. But yeah, glad to get that in as well. So yeah, ready to talk about it here on the GSP.
Amongst the numerous amount of talents that you have now, you're running too, on top of everything else that you've done, and you're you're utilizing life in the right way. That's what it shows. So he's gonna we're gonna see him in the New York City Marathon next or something. I don't know if you're gonna be on a computer simulator doing it or if you're gonna actually be running in it, but we'll see what happens. As long as you don't ride the subway like the one lady that tried to do it back in the '80s to win the marathon. But we're gonna talk about the tripleheader at Bristol. Saw Keebler Gibbs in Cup, Connor Zilisch in O'Reilly, and Christopher Bell in Trucks. Different storylines, not a whole lot of action in theory outside of the truck race, which was presented poorly, of course. But the Masters saw Rory repeat, had a 6-shot lead going into the weekend, promptly lost said lead, was tied for the lead going into the final round on Sunday, had to hold off Scotty Scheffler to get the job done. Scotty Scheffler becomes the first player since the great Byron Nelson to go bogey free on the weekend at Augusta, and was 1 shot behind Rory McIlroy, who now ties Cernic Faldo for 6 majors and stuff. So we'll get into that. Roundup has some good stuff here. Supercross championship battle, I think, might have been blown wide open now with the result. Rally Croatia saw a huge change in the points there for WRC. Supercars on their New Zealand doubleheader. The Winternationals at Pomona. Somebody I like won. Might mention ARCA. We'll see where we're at. World Superbikes are at Assen. The WEC comes back for their first race of their year. They were supposed to be at Qatar. You know why that isn't happening, so they're going to make their season debut at Imola. IMSA comes back for the first sprint race of the season at Long Beach, which will be GTP and GTD. We'll see Robbie Wickens back driving for DXDT Corvette, amongst others that'll be in the field. So we'll talk about all those. We'll preview, make picks for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach for IndyCar, which will be led into by the Cup Series event at Kansas. O'Reilly Series will race on Saturday night there at Kansas Speedway, so we'll make picks for that. Josh will let us know all things going on iRacing Gaming in the Sim segment, and then we'll call it a day. So we will start with the Food City 500 at Bristol. So we have to mention that they adjusted stage lengths for Talladega. SOD was on Door Bumper Clear talking about it, but So that can, there's something. So the first stage of the race is gonna run 98 laps at Talladega. Then the second stage will be 45 laps. Okay. And then the third stage will be so it's 48, it's 45 laps. Okay. So basically what they're doing is they're running the first stage. So we're flipping. Okay. So they're flipping it to where they're going to start the stage lengths with the long first stage, then have shorter bursts so that they can adjust with fuel mileage. Not sure. We'll see. Any thoughts on that, Josh, before we get into Bristol?
I mean, I think, obviously the stage length adjustment is just them trying to figure out a way to counter the fuel saving techniques that the Cup Series teams have and drivers have developed since we've gone to this new next gen car. So, not surprised by it, but I think we'll just have to wait and see until they get on track to determine if that actually will make a difference or if it's just another change that doesn't ultimately affect anything and it actually just gets in the way of whatever they were trying to do.
I mean, we'll see what happens. SOD was trying to keep things mooted on DBC based on that. So we'll see where that goes or how that goes. But we'll find out. I mean, whatever. Talladega races take forever, and they seem to go a long time. So then waiting almost 100 laps at Talladega for a stage break they're gonna have a lot of commercials during that. So good luck, Fox. We know how great they are. Yeah, we'll go over here. Let's get back to Bristol. Food City 500, historic win, a first win for Keebler Gibbs. Had issues earlier in the race, lost stage points in the first stage, ended up getting some stage points in the second. Decision, I think, what is it, he made or him and Tyler Allen made to stay out because of track position meaning so much with these cars and with the way the track was. Brian Blaney had issues on pit road all day, but had the fastest car. Larson won both stages and led the most laps. Blaney was right there with him and was in the mix the whole day. You had, but in the end, Keebler Gibbs, who's been averaging a fourth place finish for the last 6 races, gets his first career win. At the same time, Briscoe actually has a clean race. So hopefully now that, they're trying to cover for the fact that Gabe Hart called them out on all the crap they're doing for Keebler. Now that he finally got that first win, maybe they'll kind of balance things out a little bit again, and Briscoe can get some of his equipment back. But either way, for Gibbs joining the likes of Kurt Busch, Ernie Irvan, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt, and Elliott Sadler too. I wanted to list the guys that are actually good, and then I figured I'll add Elliott Sadler there. The NASCAR wire service made a mention of Lenny Pond because he was the last person to win with the number 54. He only won one race in the Cup Series. Just based on his grandfather, I doubt that that's going to be the case for Keebler. But dude's been running well. Race itself, it didn't seem like there was a lot of movement. Hard to pass, of course, with this car. Short track package still lacking in certain ways. Most of the stage points stayed and drivers stayed within the top 11. Only, what is it, about 4 drivers that scored stage points are outside of that. Gumby, Herbst, who actually qualified in the top 5, Christopher Bell, who had issues speeding, Josh Berry, had stage points both stages and then fell back, had issues, and finished 32nd. The Alex Bowman returned for the first time since Coda, got in a wreck. Chad Fincham, driving the only open car, had mechanical issues. Then the Trackhouse team had a brutal day. Chastain started 6th but finished 20th. And then Zilisch and Van Gisbergen were 33rd and 34th. So it's a really strong start to the year for SVG. It's been starting to slip away for him there. But there were only 4 leaders in this race. So Larson led 284 laps, Ryan Blaney 190, Keebler 25, and then Clyde 6 laps. Gibbs, Blaney, Larson, Reddick, another top 5. Chase Briscoe rounding out your top 5, so 3 Toyotas there. Todd Gilligan from 35th to 6th. Joey Logano, Ryan Prix, Dennis Hamlin, and Carson Hocevar rounding out your top 10. Bubba Wallace finishing 11th there. There were 16 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap was Cindric. The Roush guys were all within that. AJ Allmendinger getting a top 15 finish. Big deal for them with their lack of technical alliances and stuff. As I mentioned, Herbst, Bell, Barry, other stage point getters. William Byron had a really bad day, 5 laps down in 30th. Kyle Busch, who's won like 19,000 races at Bristol, finished 2 laps down in 25th. So there's that. But for Gibbs, Josh, been running really well. I think it was a matter of time for him to be that next first-time winner, and could be the launch point for him to make a championship run. Of course, he has a lot of points to gain. He's looking at a reset, and they're trying to prepare themselves for that 10-race chase. Bristol will be in later in the year. I think it'll be in the playoffs, so this is a good deal for them. Good deal for the Gibbs organization. Rev Gibbs, being his grandson, finally wins for, his late father and late uncle. Kind of laid the foundation there for Ty to get to this point. Big deal for them. So now Gibbs has 4 winning drivers in the Cup Series. And I guess we'll see. But I also would venture to say, Larson kind of leaving the weekend wanting after leading the most laps in both races he was in. Trying to get 2 consecutive wins for Hendrick there after they won Martinsville. And then you also have Blaney, who's, I don't know what they need to see to make changes on pit road. He's been close at Bristol and just hasn't been able to get through. Had a great car this weekend, but I think at the end of the day, we know what Ford's player is right there. That's a number 1 player right there for Ford, and that's it. All their eggs are in that basket. They need that to be good. There might be a thing from Roush with like Buescher, I guess, maybe later in the year, but Blaney's the one guy. At least with Chevrolet, that Hendrick, with whether it's Elliott or Larson or Byron, depending. Seems weird what happened this weekend, but uh, could be there. Um, and then Toyota's pretty wide open, but Gibbs being able to hold off two champion drivers, not wreck them, which has been his habit in the past, driving within himself to get the job done and join a really strong list of first-time winners at Bristol, first-time Cup winners at Bristol.
Yeah, yeah, for Ty Gibbs, I mean, really kind of one of the more interesting storylines of the season because first 2 races, like, it looked like it would continue like it was for him in 2025 and, 2024 where he struggled a lot, especially, last year, uh, finishing outside of the playoff field, um, rookie year out of the playoff field, 2024 just close, but not enough to turn into wins, right? And, after the first 2 races, right, beginning to think like, "Oh, maybe, like, he doesn't have it," especially they were comparing the amount of races that he had been in the car in Gibbs before he'd won. They compared it to, well, now he's at the longest streak, without a win, before, um, any other driver that had driven for Gibbs, getting compared to guys like, JJ Yaley, of course, there, but, um since, Circuit of the Americas, finishing no worse than 6th at Darlington, so, I mean, whatever it is, I mean, if it's because of the lawsuit or whatever with, Chris Gabehart versus Joe Gibbs Racing or whatever, trying to make him look good, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, he's run super consistently since then, um, finishing in the top 5, almost throughout every race, finishing in the top 10, now winning here. Bristol, of course, taking advantage of late cautions, staying out, um, and everything to be able to pull that off. And to be fair, I mean, he did have a really good car. The last green flag run of the race, got by Kyle Larson for second there at the end and was catching Ryan Blaney, but I think he was gonna. It looked like he was gonna run out of time there at the end, but then final caution there, 25 to go, gave him that opportunity. Everybody else pitted, of course, and then he stayed out there. So obviously, tire advantage kind of worked in his favor, being able to survive the final 25 laps and use lane choice to his advantage there on the restarts to be able to win. So, yeah, he of course held off yeah 2 champions, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, and especially Larson, somebody who's dominated Bristol. This is a track that he's accustomed to winning at now these days in dominating fashion. So, yeah, for Ty Gibbs pulling off this win here. I mean, maybe it'd be the springboard for him to continue to get more wins throughout the season and maybe become a championship contender. I mean, I think right now with the results that he's had since Coda, I mean, I think you definitely say he could be, if not one of those top 3 guys that they've talked about in the media that need to be in the top 3 to win the championship when the chase starts. I mean, he's definitely within maybe like borderline top 3 or that type. Extend that to like top 5 to potentially win the championship. So um, we'll see what they're able to do here. I mean, obviously, I think next thing is to be able to capitalize on stage points here to start maximizing the amount of points you score for him. So I think that's definitely going to be part of it. But yeah, finally first career win here after a long time and struggling in this car, especially so, and everything that he's gone through. Right, I mean, lost his father in the Xfinity Championship back in 2022. So all the things that he's gone through in that time, now winning here. I mean, yeah, definitely it makes his family proud and all his group and his teammates proud of him as well. So, oh yeah, glad to see him finally win, I guess, and yeah, beating 2 guys who are really good there. So yeah, of course, Kyle Larson, of course, dominated the race. First 2 stages won by him. And it looked like, yeah, finally Larson, would, finally win a race here, points rate paying race here for the first time since last May. But it seemed like at the end or after the second stage, like just didn't have the same handling what he had in the first half of that race, and definitely compared to Ryan Blaney, just didn't have the same amount of pace there. So looked like they whatever it is with the Chevys right now, they're able to, I guess, kind of overcome it, with their pitch strategy and Kyle Larson's driving style, be able to overcome some of that because obviously they ended up being the best Hendrick car. I mean, um, Chase Elliott spun out at the end, which they didn't catch on camera at the end by Fox. Um, William Byron 5 laps down here, and then of course Alex Bowman caught up in that wreck with Shane Van Gisbergen in there in the middle of that race. So yeah, Larson of course carrying the flag for Hendrick there, but definitely not the typical day that you kind of expect from the Hendrick group as a whole there. So definitely, yeah, for Larson another missed opportunity to win after completely dominating the race. So we'll see if that trend continues here um, in the Cup Series. And then yeah, Blaney, of course. I mean, he looked like he had the fastest car, but then of course pit crew let him down multiple times throughout the race. So if it weren't for that, maybe he had a better pit crew. We'd be talking about Ryan Blaney getting edged out and having led the most laps in this race. But um, just won the pole, had a lot of speed, but just had issues on pit road, which I think led to Kyle Larson being able to lead the most laps in this race. So yeah, I mean, typical Bristol race here in the next gen. Last couple of years, not too thoroughly entertaining, but I mean, you still had your shenanigans throughout the race. With um, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. cleaning out Brad Keselowski, turn 1 and 2. Of course, the incident with Shane Van Gisbergen took out Alex Bowman there. First race back for Bowman, of course, ends in last place in a crash there. And then, later on you had Riley Herbst getting into Kyle Busch, and then Kyle Busch returned the favor there at the end, caused that last yellow there. So you still had some of your incidents there that we've seen in the past. So it's definitely in terms of eventfulness, not too eventful, but I mean those incidents definitely did stand out for their different reasons there. So um, yeah, I mean now we go on to Kansas here and go on to different part of the schedule here. More mile and a halfs here coming up and some speedways and road courses coming up. So definitely going to be an interesting part of the schedule coming up here for the Cup Series.
Yeah, I mean this stretch is where we're gonna find out who's got it, because this is going all the way till the end of July there. After Brickyard's the last race of this run, they're gonna be running every week, so getting momentum now, being able to run it out before that summer weekend off is big for all these teams to either maintain, build, um, also affect the points standings, which we will talk about accordingly right now. So the Cup Series points heading into Kansas this coming weekend. Reddick, of course, leads by 62 over Blaney, 86 over Denny Hamlin. Those are the only drivers within 100 points. All the winners in the Cup Series so far this year are in the top 5 in points. But it's Reddick, Blaney, Hamlin, Gibbs, Elliott. Kyle Larson, 4 points behind Clyde in 6th, Byron 7th, Wallace 8th, Bell 9th, Chris Buescher 10th. Really close between little cluster there between Byron and Keselowski, 16 points. Then another close cluster of Logano, host of our Prix, Suarez kind of in his own world. SVG on the bump spot, 1 point ahead of Chase Briscoe, 5 ahead of Cindric, 6 ahead of McDowell. Now, Allmendinger didn't make up any places in points, but got himself to within 21 of the cutoff in 20th place. Chastain, 21st in points there. So, trying to see who is, the lowest placed person who has won a stage is Chastain and Zane Smith are 21st and 22nd in points. Biggest mover was Briscoe, 4 positions up after his 5th place finish and getting stage points on Sunday. Move over to the O'Reilly Series Suburban Propane 300 at Bristol. I saw Connor Zilisch stay out on old tires, Rodney Childers, and then making that call and holding off Kyle Larson, who led 230 of the race's 300 laps. Zilisch, Sawalich, who finished 7th, Sieg, who finished 11th, the only drivers that led double-digit laps. Connor Zilisch, Kyle Larson, Brent Cruz from 17th to 3rd, Justin Allgaier, another top 5, Carson Quapple in 5th, Sheldon Creed, Sawalich, they were the front row guys for the qualifying. Corey Day, another top 10. Parker Retzloff, no stage points, but got a top 10 finish. Taylor Gray finishes 10th. Sieg was 11th. Jesse Love 12th. Sammy Smith, Rajah Cruz started dead last and finished 14th, so credit to him. Bruckshot Jones was 19th. Sam Maros 20th. Last 2 cars, or 2 of the, there by the end of the lead lap there. Hank Hill was 21st, last car in the lead lap. Not a lot of, only 2 cars out of the race. What is it? One multi-car incident. Couple of issues for the Mason Maggio car during the day, but yeah, I mean, in this case here, Zilisch going and staying out. Larson was trying to win 2 in a row at Bristol after dominating this race last year, but isn't able to get it done. But you look at after him, a lot of the players that we see on a week-to-week basis are all up there within positions 3rd through 14th, and then you have to go and look back a few places there to get a couple of those other guys, and Jones, Mayer, Hill. But even though a couple of Cup guys came in and were able to finish 1-2, those regulars are all sitting there earning points, putting themselves in position as they move forward to put their best foot forward as the season moves on, and they go to some different racetracks, more the cookie cutter types. But Zilisch, who's had a rough rookie year in the Cup Series, gets back with JRM driving with Rodney Childers, and goes and gets a victory there. So good momentum for that one team.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, good momentum for the one, and yeah, first win for Rodney Childers as a crew chief here for Junior Motorsports and O'Reilly series. But yeah, still kind of the same story that happened in the Cup Series on Sunday with caution coming out late, and then somebody on older tires staying out there. So yeah, Zilisch able to hold off Brent Cruz there at the end and Kyle Larson there. So get him kind of a confidence booster, I guess you could say, with some of the issues that he's definitely been having here in early going of his Cup Series career. So, yeah, still a lot on his plate for the O'Reilly Series here this year. So, yeah, for Zilisch, an opportunity to get more seat time and continue to improve his racecraft here, which obviously, yeah, winning here is good for that as well. So, yeah, good for Connor Zilisch there in that one team, and then, yeah, I mean Brent Cruz there at the end like had an opportunity to maybe steal the win from Zilisch there, but just kind of overstepped it there at the end on the top, and kind of got in the wall, and that kind of allowed Kyle Larson to come back into play there to try to take second from him there. So yeah, Brent Cruz definitely been really good so far in his starts here in the 19 car, but um, maybe we could have been talking about him winning the race, but still, yeah, a lot to learn from him there. And then, yeah, kind of the same story, yeah, with Larson there. With him finishing second again and then leading the most laps. Losing the lead kind of on pit stops there. I think probably if you didn't have those cautions there, then we'd be talking about him winning there. But yeah, for him, kind of the same deal as in the Cup Series, and then trying to win the race late from Zilisch there, kind of just overstepped it on the edge there and got loose, and that opened the door for Zilisch there to win the race. So yeah, again, 88 car, I guess, running good up front for Junior Motorsports. So still, yeah, it's been a Junior Motorsports type of year, of course, and Allgaier continues to extend his point standings lead with another top five there. So, yeah, all in all, good weekend there. Top five, except for third for Junior Motorsports there. So obviously taking advantage of what they have currently to be able to continue to put on good finishes there. And of course, even Raja Karuth, starting from last on the field and finishing in 14th in the Jordan Anderson car, 32 car, being sponsored this week by HendrickCars.com. That's pretty good run there for him, considering that equipment compared to the Junior Motorsports equipment there. So definitely good finish there for him. Still keeps him in the fight as far as the championship standings go. He's in 11th right now, but still an opportunity to continue to improve there. So, um, yeah, I mean, another Cup Series driver wins here on the weekend here in the O'Reilly Series, but some of these series regulars, um, with Allgaier continuing extending his lead. Of course, Corey Day, another top 10 for him. So as he continues to ascend into the top uh, five group of the standings there. So, yeah, all in all, good day for Junior Motorsports if you're a fan of them, of course. But yeah, just another kind of boring short track race here otherwise. But yeah, it was fairly entertaining to watch there at the end with Larson, Cruz, and Zilisch there.
And I mean, for Brent Cruz, he's trying to do everything he can to make up all the points because of the races he had to miss. Starting to think after these last couple of races that are on smaller tracks that they're talking about the aero dependence of these cars, that maybe some changes may need to be made with the package because of just the lack of being able to get around others, especially when they're in traffic. So something to keep an eye on. Probably won't happen anytime soon, but I think some more of these kind of meh events is gonna bring on some attention. Allgaier, he loves this format. If there's a driver that's meant for the chase format, I think it's Justin Allgaier. Dude's got 130-point lead. He's 9 races in his season. He's probably gonna set that Jeff Green record or something. Or Kevin Harvick broke it in 2006 or whatever, but when he was bushwhacking every single week. But Allgaier, if you take Allgaier out of this, there's actually not a terrible. It's actually not a. It's a decent here. Creed's up 16 points on Jesse Love, 36 on Corey Day, 40 on Carson Quapple, 47 on Hank Hill, 56 on Sammy Smith, and 65 on Bruckshot Jones. So, I mean, there's actually a lot of movement opportunities there. Then you have the next cluster of Retzloff, Sawalich, Raja, and Taylor Gray there. So, I mean, for Raja having to go and jump between cars, same with Carson Quapple. For Retzloff driving for Viking Motorsports to continue to be up there really is showing their mettle. It's harder for them compared to these other drivers that have one ride. Sieg right now is 28 points out of the cutoff. Sam Mayer is 35 points out of the cutoff. And what was it? 49 back at Brennan Poole. So that's it's going to be, once you get past those guys, then it becomes a little more of a sweat. 67 for Burton, or Jeb Burton. 70, was it 72? Yeah, 72 for Alfredo. 60 and 15, 75 points for Brent Cruz, and Brent Cruz has only run 5 races, so he's going to run the rest of the season. His 2 teammates at the moment are in the playoff, in the chase, so Brent Cruz is definitely going to be one to watch there, with the deficit that he has to deal with. They'll be at Kansas, of course, this coming Saturday night. Chris Bell won his first Truck Series race since 2017 when he was a regular. Won for Halmar and number 62. In terms of, I'll just get the results here. Yeah, so this race was just like the other 2 races. Pretty straightforward, not a whole heck of a lot went down here other than that wreck that saw where Corey Heim was racing with Christian Eckes, who had won stage 1, led the most laps. Ben Rhodes actually won stage 2. Heim was battling for the triple truck challenge and winning whatever 500,000, and then Eckes just went and junked him, and Caden Honeycutt, who had qualified on pole, was involved in that wreck as well. So that took out, so there was 2, there was an incident, that was the incident that, looking for, so 190, 111, 34, so that also took out Lane Riggs, affected Lane Riggs' day, who had gotten a few stage points there, but the results: Bell, the winner, led 63 laps. Chandler Smith, Gio Ruggiero, Ross Chastain, Christian Eckes, your top 5. Jake Garcia, Dawson Sutton started 34th, finished 7th in the Tennessee volunteer sponsored number 26 for Rackley War. Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar, Butterbean Queen rounding out your top 10. Rhodes was 11th. Chase Briscoe got called late to race the number 5 for Tricon, ended up 14th. Justin Haley, 15th. I mentioned Riggs, he finished 22nd. Carson Ferguson making his truck debut, only a couple of positions behind the guy he lost a seat to, Mini Tyrell. Suarez was in this race, finished behind his country mate Andres Perez de Lara. Their starting tailback, Majeski was 23rd. Richard was 26. Grant Enfinger had issues there. Corey LaJoy, 29th. Heim and Honeycutt, 30th, 31st. So, I think there were a few incidents, some slow vehicles, whatever, but the couple issues for Corey LaJoy, it looks like there too, but for, the action there, once the 1 and 11 were taken out of play, I think it made things a little more straightforward for the rest of the field. Eckes wasn't able to get back the track position he lost through all the pit sequences. And Bell utilized experience there to go and get Halmar Friesen a win in their second Star Truck.
Yeah, yeah, good win for Halmar Friesen there with them kind of having some things over the years, but now, yeah, Chris Bell gets them a win here. So, yeah, win for their second truck, and he's ran a couple races for them this year. So, yeah, winning at Bristol is huge for that team, of course. Yeah, but I think the one of the real stories here in this race is with Corey Heim having a chance, like you said, to get the $350,000 for the Triple Truck Challenge, and then getting cleaned out by Christian Eckes there as soon as he took the lead. So, um, yeah, that was obviously pretty big there. And then, of course, it does. I mean, it affects the point lead as well because Caden Honeycutt was in that as well. So, Caden Honeycutt's now 1 point behind Chandler Smith, and now that Corey Himes in the championship now declaring for points, he's 4 points behind in the championship to Chandler Smith there. So, yeah, the point battle right now in trucks between the top five's actually fairly tight. So, um, if you're looking for exciting early season points battle, this might be it here, the Truck Series. So, pretty interesting to see how that will play out. But yeah, I think one of the other controversies here from this race is saw social media, I guess, with the Triple Truck Challenge. Nobody actually won it, but Chandler Smith was the best finishing series driver here. In Chris Bell winning. So I guess like he had thought Chandler Smith had thought that he was the winner of the Triple Truck Challenge or something, and then the Fox reporter had to inform him that he did not in fact win the challenge there. And I think some people were upset about that because the Fox reporter should have been more professional about it or whatever. But regardless of the fact, that's I guess kind of interesting how that plays out when we were talking about it offline. Comparing that to the Dash for Cash and Riley series and how that's structured, and it seems like that series, at least Dash for Cash is always structured so for the best of the group of drivers who could win that. I mean, you have something similar here, but it is what it is. So, um, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, now we have a tight points battle now, and Chandler Smith leading points here in Truck Series could be interesting here early on in the season as I guess they go to after Bristol. They'll be in Texas here. They get a couple weeks off here before going to Texas here beginning of May. So that'll be interesting to watch for sure. But yeah, early on, we got Corey Heim who hasn't declared until now, and then Chris Bell, Kyle Busch. So far in this series, we've only had two series drivers until Corey Heim declared for points, winning races here. So kind of interesting how that's going to play out here now. Now that Corey Heim's back, supposedly seems like he's back here in the Truck Series to try to compete for the title, while he gets more opportunities in the Cup Series and potentially the Riley Series as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way the schedule, I forget what was it, Freddie Kraft went and said that they front loaded the schedule with Corey Heim for the trucks. So you add that to the fact that there's been a lot of cup drivers in there anyway. I think he's going to be in the mix for the points at least for a while this season. But as the summer picks up, I think he's going to get more races in that 67 car. You look at, Herbst and his performances as well. That also plays a role in maybe what might happen with him. You also think about Legacy with the 84 might be in play. The O'Reilly series, they don't have that many Toyotas out there. Harrison Burton's been struggling. The Sam Hunt team has just been struggling in general. So that's something that we have to look at maybe as another option too. But yeah, Josh mentioned it with the points. Chandler Smith 1 point ahead of Honeycutt now. Corey Heim, even though he's only run 4 races, is just 4 points behind. Lane Riggs tied for that third place. 4 points behind. Eckes 17, Gio Ruggiero 21, Ty Majeski 26, Ben Rhodes 27 points back. So 8 drivers within 27 points. So at least one series has a compelling points battle. I think that's driven a lot by the fact that there's been so much cup competition in there affecting the points. Jake Garcia and Justin Haley for the Collie Graham team, you're 10. Friesen currently in 11th. I think Jayski has Corey Heim out, so then Friesen would be 10th, and then Ankrum is only 3 points behind. You have Tanner Gray, Butterbean Queen, Enfinger, Hemrick. Right now, that's 21 points. Daniel Hemrick is behind Ankrum, and 24 behind Friesen. So they've had that McAnally team. I think having to carry Chris Wrong around is not helping their cause. He doesn't bring anything to the table for them, and interestingly, Corey LaJoie, he's moved up now to 28th. I don't know if he's going to get the waiver or not for running for this series, but we'll see what happens in regards to that. All right, so in terms of the Masters, Rory McIlroy had set a record with a 6-shot lead at after 36 holes, and ended up shooting a 73 on Saturday and then 71 on Sunday to win the Masters by 1 shot. At one point after the 6th hole, he was 2 shots behind. He was going into the back 9? He was a shot back of Justin Rose, and by the time he left the 13th hole, he was 3 shots ahead. So, I mean, he birdies 12th, the par 3 12th, gets it over the water, hits it over the bunker there, right on that right edge, and huge shot, 3/4 9-iron, I think he said it was. Turned it over, got that birdie, which was a bonus. Birdies 13, then gets through 14 through 17. Driving issues the whole weekend for McIlroy. The driver never was there. He hitting fairways, least amount of fairways ever for Masters champion, but do it different ways. And the Masters, unlike other majors, you don't have to hit fairways to win, in theory, and McIlroy's proven that. Cameron Young, who I had said last week was my pick, had taken the lead and was actually 2 up going into the 6th hole, where they both bogeyed that hole. Then he bogeyed 7, birdied 8, bogeyed 9, and from then on parred the whole second side. Scheffler, who started at 8 under, had birdie on the 3rd hole, or 7 under, birdied the 1st hole, then the 3rd, parred all the way until the 15th and 16th holes, to end up being only 1 shot back. As I mentioned, Byron Nelson, the last person to go bogey free on the weekend, with the number 1 player in the world. First time since the 2002 U.S. Open, where at Bethpage Black, where Tiger Woods beat Phil Mickelson. where the top 2 players in the world finished 1-2. McElroy winning by 1 over Scheffler. 4-way tie between Tyrrell Hatton, Russell Henry, Justin Rose, Cameron Young for third. Then Morikawa, who had a bad back, who's still battling back issues, was able to grind through and shoot 68 to finish at 9. Sam Burns was at 11 under after the first hole, dropped all the way back to 7 under, brought it back to 9 by the end of the day, shot 73, struggled on the weekend. Max Homa, big weekend for him. He's had some struggles recently, so big weekend for him to get through. Yeah, I mean, I think, what was it, 5 under was of the people who actually either get invited back next year. So of those players, any of the players who were able to finish there that haven't won the Masters, so the likes of course, Spieth, Matsuyama, Patrick Reed, but like Patrick Cantlay, Koepka, I think he might be eligible because of his PGA Championship from a couple of years ago still. Jake Knapp, Homa, Burns, so yeah. I'm curious to see what happened with Shane Lowry, because Shane Lowry fell all the way back to 2. Lowry was at 9 under, bogeyed the first, birdied the second, then bogeyed the fourth, doubled 5, doubled 11, bogeyed 12, bogeyed 14, doubled 16, and then bogeyed 18. Wow, that is sick. He shot, so yes, plus 8. Yeah, he shot 80 in the final round. And still came out and hugged his good buddy Rory McIlroy after that. Man, that is rough for Gary Woodland. Wow, Gary Woodland was plus 6 and shot 6 under par to shot 66. That is pretty damn good. Yeah, so he shot 66 on that, I believe, was the low round of the day, tied with Hatton, Bradley as well. So yeah. And then 80, Hao Tong Lee also shot an 80. A lot of bigger scores there. Yeah, Shane Lowry fell all the way back. He was at 5, and then he was a 9 under par going into the final round. The brutal end of the Masters for him. Jason Day shot 75, knocked himself out of that, or no, he's still actually in that automatic qualifier for next year's Masters. So yeah, so it's a tradition unlike any other. My favorite golf tournament. You know, so it's awesome to see, and to see possibility of Rory McIlroy now having a chance to win 3 years in a row. Come next year, he'll be able to host the Champions Dinner for a second year in a row, so we'll see what his menu looks like accordingly come next April. All right, let's move forward into the roundup here. So yeah, Supercross was at Nashville last week, daytime event on NBC. East Coast 250s were running there in the 250 main event. Cole Davies, gets the win over teammate Nate Thrasher. Devin Simonson was third, giving Yamaha's the whole podium. Daxon Bennick, Seth Hamaker was fifth in the battle for the championship there. The point standings, Davies now 19 points ahead of Hamaker going to Cleveland this weekend. Daxon Bennick in third, Cody Schock in fourth. Nate Thrasher with his second place finish moves himself up to sixth. Devin Simonson to seventh after his third place finish. So they're both trying to get past Joe Shimoda, who of course got knocked out with an injury at St. Louis and then didn't race this past weekend. So in the 450 class, Hunter Lawrence gets another win by 7.17 seconds over Cooper Webb. Ken Roxton had issues, finished third. Sexton, Justin Hill rounding out your top five. Dylan Fernandez got penalized one position. Eli Tomac ends up finishing 12th. So in the 450 championship, Hunter Lawrence, that's his fourth win of the season, now has a 10-point lead on Ken Roxon and a 15-point lead on Eli Tomac. Heading into Cleveland, 28-point lead on Cooper Webb for fourth. Chase Sexton, who's had to miss races with injury, 3 races, still is sixth in points. Joey Savacci, Malcolm Stewart, Jorge Prado, Justin Hill, Dylan Fernandez only 4 points behind Justin Hill for 10th in points. So he's missed a couple of races. So let's see, they'll be at Cleveland this coming weekend. Then they'll be at Philly, Denver, and then Salt Lake City for the end of the Supercross season. Forward to Rally Croatia, Takamoto Katsuda ends up going and getting the victory after what was a chaotic end of the race, end of the rally. His second consecutive win after getting his first rally win at Kenya. Wins the Rally Croatia. They'll be going to the Canary Islands for the next round of the championship. 3 rounds in a short time frame. So Canary Islands and then Portugal coming up. Katsuda goes and benefits from Thierry Neuville's mistake on the power stage, wrecking his car to end up winning the event by 20.7 seconds over Sami Bayari, then Hayden Patton for Hyundai, saving something for them. The WRC2, Johan Russell and then Leo Russell, and rounding out your top 5. All WRC2 cars from positions 4 through 14. Josh McElrain was the next Rally 1 car in 15th. So crazy to think there was issues for Oliver Solberg, for Effin Evans early in this rally. So to battle that, current point standings, Takamoto Katsuda has a 7-point lead on Effin Evans and a 13-point lead on Oliver Solberg, who both came back with points in the Sunday in the Wolf Power stage. Sami Payari is 4th. Adrian Formeau, the best of the Hyundais. Neuville wrecked himself out of a likely win, which is a shame there for him. Rossell actually now is 9th in points in Rally 2. Johan Rossell and then Leo Rossell, I guess they're brothers. They're 9th and 10th in points, actually. Ogier, of course, only has run 2 rounds. We'll see when he comes back there. But the point standings, it looks like Toyota benefit at the moment. Go to, let's see here, where am I at? All right. Supercars. Supercars last week raced at Taupo for the Taupo 440. Brody Kostecki getting the win in race 1, and then Ryan Wood getting the first win for Toyota. The New Zealander getting a home win there. So currently Brody Kostecki has won 4 races, Brock Feeney 3, and then 1 win apiece for the Toyota Ryan Wood and Anton De Pasquale for Chevrolet. The driver standings heading into this weekend's race: Brody Kostecki 19 points ahead of Brock Feeney, Matt Payne in 3rd, Cam Waters in 4th, and Ryan Wood moves up to 5th. De Pasquale 6th, defending champion Chaz Mostert 7th, Jack LeBrock, Will Brown, and James Golding rounding out your top 10. We'll move over to the NHRA, which saw in Top Fuel in the Winternationals, Tony Stewart getting his first win for the Elite Motorsports team. And then one of his cars, Matt Hagan, gets the whatever 10, I forget which, the 1000 funny car race ever. And then Greg Anderson wins in Pro Stock. Hagan doubled up. He won 2 Fast, 2 Tasty Challenge as well. Doug Coletta and Dallas Glenn in their respective categories. Tony Stewart beat Justin Ashley in the final. Matt Hagan beat Ron Capps. And then Greg Anderson beat Dallas Glenn in the final. Right now in the points, Doug Coletta 4 points out of his teammate Sean Langdon, 21 ahead of Josh Hart, 32 ahead of Tony Stewart, 36 ahead of Leah Pruitt. Maddie Gordon 70 back. She went out in the first round. Justin Ashley, last driver, under 100 points back there. There are 3 events. Ron Capps and Matt Hagan are tied for points. J.R. Todd minus 27, Chad Green minus 28, Jordan Vandergriff, Spencer Hyde, and Alexis DeJoria, drivers inside of 100 points. Dallas Glenn and Greg Anderson. Dallas Glenn leading by 31 over Anderson. There only been 1 Pro Stock motorcycle race, so there's that. We'll move to check out ARCA here. ARCA Menards Series. Yeah, it was one of the goofiest races I've ever seen. Was that ARCA West race they had at Tucson Raceway Park. It looked pretty sad, but Cole Denton got the win there. The ARCA Menard Series will be at Kansas and Talladega back-to-back weeks, and they'll be racing Watkins Glen and Toledo. ARCA East will be at Nashville Fairgrounds in a couple weeks' time. West will be at Shasta Speedway in a couple weeks' time. So yeah, we'll go to the Tide 150, huh? All right. Tide 150, they don't have an entry list posted, so I was curious to see who would be in. They don't have that up there, so that kind of is a bummer there. I was hoping to have information. I think Cleet and George, Cletus McFarland and LS George will be in this race amongst others, so we'll see how that all goes. Yeah, we'll just delete that part then. World Superbikes at Assen. World Superbikes this year has become it now that you remove when you remove Toprak Raskatlioglu, now all of a sudden Nicolo Balega is dominating. Iker Lackawanna, his teammate, in second. Axel Bassani third. Miguel Oliveira fourth. The Lowe's brothers fifth and sixth. And Garrett Gerloff 12th in points there. So we'll see what happens at Assen with World Superbikes. Of course, a track that is cathedral of speed for motorcycles. So that's something we'll be able to look forward to. Great racing there usually. WEC gets their season rolling here at Imola. The season opener mark here's up 6 hours of Imola. Then they'll be at Spa in a few weeks' time before they race the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And they'll be in Sao Paulo in July. US, I guess it's Coda, and yeah, it's Lone Star Le Mans. So yeah, Japan, they move Qatar and Bahrain pretty close together there. So entry list 35 cars, so 17 in the prototypes, and then so what is it? Entry list. So yeah, 17 in hypercar, and then 18 in GT3. You have 2 Aston Martins, then 2 Toyotas, 2 Cadillacs, 2 of the Genesis cars making their debut. BMW Team WRT. Alpine has 2 cars. AF course, or Ferrari has 3. Of course, they have the private 83, and then the 2 Peugeots. McLaren has 2 cars in the GT3 category. Ferrari with AF Corsa. Harder Racing with Aston Martin, of course, with 2 cars. WRT with their BMWs. Corvette with TF Sport. Mercedes with Iron Lynx. A Codis ASP with the Lexus. Proton competition with the two Fords, and then Manti, Porsche will have, they'll be running the two 91 and 92 there. We'll see how that goes for them. And then, IMSA, last but not least, here this coming weekend will be at Long Beach. The Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Let's see right there. You'll have Porsche Cup, Carrera Cup. You'll have the WeatherTech series as well. 28 cars in the IMSA race, 11 in the prototype category, and the GTP. 3 Porsches, of course, the one private Porsche JDC Miller, with Lauren Heinrich's actually going to be be the second driver for that car. Then Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing, 2 of their cars, plus the Whelen Engineering Cadillac. BMW with their 2 WRT cars, the Aston Martin 23, and then the 2 Meyer Shank Acuras. And 17 cars in the GTD category. There'll be, I think there's 2 AO. No, there's only one. The AO racing team will run the 177 this weekend. So dovetailing, Vassar Sullivan will run 2 cars this weekend. Hawksworth and Frankie Montecalvo will be in the number 89. With partnering their usual number 12 with Aaron Tealitz, Benjamin Peterson. Spencer Pompelli will be driving with Dudu Barrichello on the Harder Racing. Aston, Sheena Monk will be in the Riley Ford Mustang. Robert Wickens teaming with his former Hyundai teammate Mason Filippi at the DXDT Corvette. Faf is going to run this weekend in the GTD category to get another test with their new Lamborghini. So that's what it is. We'll see how it goes for them. Let us move forward. Okay. Go into the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Next to last race for that's Indy next. That's not what I want. There you go. They'll have Indy Road Course for the the Indianapolis 500. The street. So one change for the 20 for the I keep on saying 20. The Long Beach Grand Prix will be the Firestone Fast 6 will be a single lap, single car qualifying, like they had in Dallas or whatever, or Arlington. So that'll be the rule after they run the group qualifying sessions leading up to that. The Firestone Fast 6. So they don't have the spotter, they don't have any of that up, but let's see here. So I picked first, so Josh, you get first dibs here on the Grand Prix of Long Beach.
I'm gonna pick Kyle Kirkwood to win the Grand Prix of Long Beach. And then I guess my wild card, I'm gonna go with go with, let's see, who's wild card the last street race. Go with Marcus Armstrong.
Isn't Marcus Armstrong in the top 12 in points?
Oh no, yeah, okay, I made a mistake there. You know what? We'll go with who's
Yeah, he's 9.
VK. I'm gonna go with VK.
You'll go Arenas VK, all right. Alright, and Arenas wild card. So Phil will, yeah, since you left him there, I might as well take Hello Polo. And for the wild card pick, I will go with I'll go with Roma Grosjean. I'll go with that. So we'll say Alex Polo to win and Grosjean wild card. All right, so O'Reilly series at Kansas. Let us see. The Kansas Lottery 300. We're going to practice qualifying in the evening on Friday and then racing or a night, and then Saturday night run in there. Cole Custer will be driving the SS Greenlight number 0. Carson Quapple back in the 1. You got Luke Baldwin driving the Hettinger number 5. You got Cruz there, so yeah. Roger Caruth in the 32 again. Nick Leitz in the 42 for Youngs. William Byron will be in the 88 this weekend for JRM. Yeah, I mean, I think that, yeah, because there's 37 for 38, so nobody would go home. And they have multiple cars that don't have a driver as of now, so for me, I mean, I will go with, you know what? I'll go with Brent Cruz. Why not? I'll go with Brent Cruz to get his first career win. And then my wild card pick for this week, I have to look at the points. How many people have run all the races? Brent Cruz would have been a good one anyways, a wild card at 28. 14. Yeah, basically it's 14th. So yeah, I could have just picked Brent Cruz as my wild card. That, I guess, you know what? I'm going to do a double hedge here. So I'm going to go Carson Quapple and Brent Cruz. So
okay,
I'm hedging that one of those guys gets their first win here. So Phil, Carson, Quapple to win, and Brent Cruz wild card. Josh, I left Allgaier up there amongst others, so should have some good ones.
yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I'm gonna go with another potential first time winner here. I'm gonna go with Corey Day here, the number 17. So I'll pick him to win here this weekend. Yes, for wild card. Look at standings real quick before I make a mistake. I'll say LeVar Scott here. See what he can do on a mile and a half.
All right. LeVar Scott. Okay. He's had a couple of good runs this year. That team is an underfunded team. So I mean, for him, he's gonna pick. They're gonna pick and choose their spots. So, uh, clean day, clean events, getting through the day without any damage is what their deal is. All right. Cup Series at Kansas. Let's go there. The what am I looking at? I keep on clicking on the wrong thing. Advent Health 400 at Kansas. Corey Heim. Well, there you go. Corey Heim's racing this week, and they're naming it 2311 Open. That's the sponsor, so supposedly. Only open car there, of course, Corey Heim. Yeah. So, Josh, you get first dibs here. In terms of the points, I think it's anybody outside of I guess Chase Briscoe for the first time this year can't be considered a wild card because there's 18. Yeah, basically you could say that, yeah, you go to about 18 places. Yeah, Cindric's the last one. So, yeah. We're really getting in the weeds now when you're talking about wild cards.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Kyle Larson here again this weekend. Last win for him in Cup on track was at Kansas last year in the springtime. So we'll see if he can figure out what's going on here and win here this weekend. And then I guess wild card for me. Um, go with Ross Chastain here.
Yeah, they need to turn things around. The Trackhouse team
Yeah.
are running pretty well in MotoGP, but struggling right now in Cup. Let us see. So for me, I'm gonna go Darrell Walsh Jr. To win, and my wild card pick will be. I'm gonna go. I am going to go with Zane Smith. So that's. So yeah, we'll go Darrell Walsh Jr. to win and Zane Smith wild card. All right. See how that goes. Next week when we talk about on episode 312. Josh, your time to shine. Tell us what's going on in the world of iRacing gaming in the sim segment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, last week ran some iRacing IndyCar fixed oval series at Las Vegas. Ran top five there throughout the week. Yeah, it was pretty good. Um, I haven't really raced IndyCar too much on Las Vegas, but I was able to pick it up and charge up to the front, and a lot of people taking themselves out with some crazy blocks and all that stuff. So managed to stay out of the trouble there in that race. And then finished thinking fourth or fifth, I think, in there. So it was pretty good. The dirty air, of course, turn off of turn two and off turn fours. Something you have to navigate in that car, and definitely affects your runs, especially if you got somebody on your outside there. So good practice there, try to prepare for the Indy 500, of course, there. So that was good. As far as iRacing goes this week, this week in iRacing, of course, the weekly iRacing series for NASCAR and IndyCar, iRacing NASCAR Cup Series or NASCAR iRacing series that runs the Gen 6 Cup cars, Gen 7 Cup cars at Kansas this week, of course. IndyCar iRacing series at Long Beach this week. And then I guess the IMSA iRacing series is at Long Beach as well this week. With those two series at Long Beach this week. So I might have to hit up some IndyCar at Long Beach. It's always fun track. Maybe some IMSA as well there. This week. Otherwise, upcoming regular series iRacing series races. We got Arca Menards series at Talladega, Porsche Cup at Long Beach. Like I said, IMSA iRacing series at Long Beach this week. Toyota GR86 is at uh, Carlos Pace Brazil Grand Prix circuit. Um, Formula Ford 1600 at VIR Virginia International Raceway. GT3 America Tour. Um, Trying to see where that is. The European Tour this week is at Donington Park, and the Asia Pacific Tour this week is um, at Phillip Island Circuit. I can't see where the American series is at this week, but Indy NXT at Long Beach Street Circuit as well. Basically anything IndyCar IMSA, I think, all at Long Beach this week. Of course, that doubleheader Grand Prix weekend. The fixed oval IndyCar series is at Iowa this week. Cars Tour fixed series at Richmond this week. There and then NASCAR, Xfinity, NASCAR Rally, and NASCAR Cup series are at Kansas this week. There 87 cars at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park there. And then the GT3 Regional Tour. Okay, that's at Harbor Motorsports Park. There. Okay. And it's a revolving door of tracks now. I've gotten through all of them. So, those are all the, I think, series of interests that I like to try on iRacing between sports cars and oval cars and, some IndyCar there. So, um, always, there's plenty of action to get into on iRacing there, of course. And definitely with IndyCar, iRacing Indy 500 coming up next month, probably good time to start preparing for that in terms of qualifying and, of course, being in race trim against other people there with, all the aero and all that stuff that comes into play, especially at Indianapolis 500, of course. And of course, you can follow that at Twitch TV/usailor2. You can go in there and watch all my streams and see what I'm doing on there. Definitely, start preparing for the Indy 500, like I said, and we'll have that on, hopefully next month with the fixed Indy 500. The first weekend of May, and then the second weekend of May is the fixed or the Open Series Indy 500. So we'll see how everything goes and be able to compete in that. Of course, for me, of course, you can follow me at JP Helpline on Twitter, Here's Your Podcasts on YouTube. Follow us there, subscribe to our channel there, and support our videos there. Of course, my personal photography page, Josh Helpline Photography on Instagram. Go in there, see all my stuff on there that I've posted. Definitely got a lot of things that I should be posting on there. Um, just posted some clips or some shots of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels here at the Cocoa Beach Air Show over the weekend. Definitely um, great show to be at. See the demonstration team of the Blue Angels um, do their thing here and see all the cool stunts and maneuvers that they're able to do. All those pilots extremely talented, able to do, and of course provide great visuals and great scenery for the people that attended that event. So it was pretty cool to see that. Definitely haven't seen the Blue Angels in probably like um, maybe 10 years or so. So last time I saw them was in I think Jacksonville Air Show, like 2014 or something like that. So, yeah, always good to see them perform and do all their things there. So, yeah, yeah, that's it for me this week. Of course, yeah, looking forward to seeing IndyCar back next week, of course, and as we start to roll into the month of May and all that stuff, and get ready for um, all the big racing that's happening here in the month of May for IndyCar and for NASCAR for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. As we build up into it, I mean, Formula One won't will be around here sooner rather than later too. So, um, trying to go and look. Yeah, so that's the 23rd. Yeah, so next week. So yeah, we will be back next week. You can follow, of course, Gripster Podcast, as Josh mentioned, GSP1428 on YouTube. You can follow me at PGMGSP28 on Insta, PGMatthew28 Twitter, PhilipGMatthew.com, on WordPress and Podbean.com. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with those that, like racing. Everything will help for us that way. Next week, we'll talk about Kansas and Long Beach, and then talk about Talladega for next following week, and then the NFL draft as well, for what our teams will be doing for that, and the usual roundup, talk about things going on last week, and going on this coming week, and then mention Talladega accordingly, and everything else going on in the world of racing we'll talk about here on the GSP. So, as always, thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks to you, Josh, as always, for all your help, being a good buddy. And yeah, we will see you next time on the GSP.